Hi everybody, and welcome to the second video in this series of videos all about how to create the spreadsheet for Unit 19. Now if you've been following the first video, your spreadsheet should now look like this, and the students worksheet is finished. Oh, by the way, one thing I forgot to mention in the first video is that you should be saving this spreadsheet. If you haven't done so already, then you should be saving it now. And if you have saved it, then you need to save it again with the name as you see it at the top of the screen here. Now it looks like quite a complicated name, but it's for the purposes of when your work is externally verified. And also it helps me as well see exactly what I'm looking at here. And it's got all the information that I need and the EV needs. And you should call it assignment 19. That should be 19.2. Actually, let me just change that quickly. That's better, 19.2. So assignment 19.2 followed by your name, followed by LO2, which is tells me what the learning outcome is that you're going for, then P2, P3, P4, which are the criteria that you're covering with this, and LO3, P5 and P6. So quite a long file name there, but it's very important, so we can tell everybody's work apart and so on. And there will be different versions of the spreadsheet too, so it'll help you keep track of it as well. So the student's sheet should look like this. And for now, that is complete, although there will be changes to make to it later on in 19.3. So what I'd like to do next is to start creating the next sheet, which will be the courses sheet, which will hold information about the courses available at the college. So I'm going to change to sheet 2 now, which at the moment is of course blank, and change its name to courses. Put capital C in there, we go, courses. Hit enter. And then copy the rows in as they are here. Only 5 columns this time, so copy row 1 as it is here, and this sheet will hold information about the course code, the course name, course start date, course end date, and the funding that the course received. So this you can see that this sheet is all about courses. Now the first thing I'd like you to do is we'll leave column A for a second, course code, and we'll create a drop-down list in B2 so that people that are filling in, the users of the spreadsheet, can just choose from a list again, a bit like we did in the previous video, rather than having to type everything in. It's much quicker, and also it validates the data automatically. It makes sure the spellings are correct because they're choosing from a list. So as long as they choose the right, they can still choose the wrong thing from the list, of course, but that's just human error. It means that the course will have the correct spelling and everything that it needs there. So we're going to create a drop-down list again. It's a little bit more complicated this time. It's not just a case of male, female, or not enrolled, enrolled. There are a lot of courses that the college puts on, so there's going to be quite a lot of entries in this list. But don't worry, because you're not on your own here. What I've done on Padlet is I've put in the other useful resources section. There's a document here called College Courses and Application Codes, which you can download and just copy the information into the spreadsheet. So I've downloaded a copy of this, and it looks like this. It's got quite a lot of information we don't need as well, but we'll get rid of that once it's in the spreadsheet. So all you do here is I'm going to go Control A to highlight everything, then Control C to copy it, and I'm back in my spreadsheet. And somewhere over here, do you remember in the first video where we used a cell that was well away from a blank bit of the spreadsheet? I'm going to paste that information in. There's not going to be anything any further over than column E in this spreadsheet. So somewhere around column I, J or K, starting somewhere around here, I'm going to paste that in and use you should get 2 paste options here. There's the match destination formatting, which is what you need. Because then it keeps the data in a format that's very useful to us. So I'll paste that in there. I'm just going to make all the columns wider, particularly the first one, because that contains the name of the course. That's what we're after for this drop-down list. And I'll make the other columns wider as well. So as you can see that we've got the information that you got from that document is the name of the course, which is going to be useful to us. A column which just contains information about the campus, and we're not going to need that, so I'm going to delete that. And also actually this column here we don't need either, so I'm just going to delete both of these at the same time. Right click, delete, and we're just left with the information we need, which is the name of the course. There's quite a few of them. And the course code, that's what we're really after. Another thing I'm going to do is, you can see there's some blanks in here. I'm going to delete those. And you do that by, that's row 5. There, so I'm just going to right click, delete that. Row 8 is blank as well, delete that, etc. I'll just do the rest. I'll pause the video there, I'll just do the rest. There we are, that's all the blanks. The blank rows removed, so we're left with just the information. We just tidied it up there. We've got all the course names nicely in one column and the course codes there. That's all you want to be left with. All the other information is unnecessary. And from there, it's easy to create the drop-down list. I just go to, I'll put it in course start date, it's course name. And then we want to go to data validation again. At the moment, any value is being allowed in that cell. We want to change that to a list. And the source of that list will be this information here. I'm only selecting the name of the course here, not the course code. That will come into it later on. Make sure you include them all, but no blank spaces. Then OK. There's a drop-down list with all the courses in. Quite a big list this time. But imagine if you're the user of this spreadsheet and you don't need then to type anything in. The best thing here probably to do is to copy and paste autofill down before you've actually chosen anything from the list. Although it's not massively important, but you don't want, it'll look a bit strange if you choose something from the list and then copy it down. Everything will be GCSE English evening class. Not the end of the world by any means, but it's probably best at this point to autofill this down when nothing's been selected. Like so. Actually, for the time being, I just want you to go down as far as row 16. I went a bit too far there. Just row 16. Just to keep this this worksheet fairly simple. At this point then, what you need to do is just choose some fairly random courses to populate the information here. Try and choose a variety from, not just from the top of the list, but from the bottom of the list as well. And at this point, just make every course different as well. We've had that one before, so let's choose one from somewhere about there. Yeah. Some of the courses have quite long names, so you will need to make column B wider. And then it should look like this. So just down as far as row 16 for the time being anyway, and a different course in each cell. Okay, so we used data validation there to make it quite easy for the user to enter those course names. We now want the course code column to be populated. Now, the user could just do this manually and look over. You see the first course name there is ABE, so the course code for that needs to be AP019, so they could put that in manually there. But there's a couple of problems with that. First of all, obviously it takes a long time. And it's prone to making errors as well. People will get very tired of doing that, and once humans are tired, they make more mistakes. So if we have an automatic method of doing that, it would be much better. And fortunately, there is one, a very nice one as well, using something called a VLOOKUP function. Now, what VLOOKUP does is you tell the formula where to look for example, to look for the ABE course. First of all, to tell it to look for ABE, where to look for it, which will be here, and then to look for whatever is in the next column, which will be the course code, of course, the way that this is laid out, and to put that in that cell. So what we'll have here is a function that, if we imagine, think like a computer, it will look in B2, and that's what to look for. Then where to look for it? Well, in here. And then we'll tell it to go along to the second column of this selection, and whatever it finds, put it in cell A2. The only other thing we'll tell it is that when it goes looking in this selection here, to look for an exact match, not just for something with an A and a B or an E in it. So that's how the VLOOKUP works, and this is what the formula looks like. As with all formulas, it starts with equals. Then VLOOKUP, the V stands for vertical. There is a horizontal lookup as well. So VLOOKUP, open bracket. There's what they call four arguments altogether, or four parts to the rest of the formula. In the first one is you tell it what to look for, and for that you're just telling it to look in B2 in this case. Then where to look for it. So comma, and then where to go looking. And we want it to look in this range of cells here. I'm including columns J and K in this because J contains the name of the course, which is what this formula will go looking for. Then, of course, row K contains the course code, which is what we're looking to have in the cell once the formula is finished. So we tell it to go looking for whatever's in B2 and look for it in cells J4 to K47. Another comma. And then the next argument in the formula is how far to go along that selection that we've just made to find the course code. So it's in column 2 of the selection. You can see the selection I've made is I don't know how many rows, but it's 2 columns. So we're telling it to go along to the second column. Once it finds A, B, E here, to go along to the second column of the selection. The default is it always looks in the first column for whatever you've told it to go looking for, in this case A, B, E. And then the second column, in this case, will tell it to look up the course code, so we put a 2 in there. Okay. The final argument then is just telling it to look for an exact match. And you can see in the autocomplete here, there's just either a true, which will be an approximate match, or exact match. We wanted to go looking for exactly what is in B2, in this case A, B, E, so we put false in there. So hopefully that's made sense. If it's worked, then basically what it'll do is go looking for A, B, E, it'll find it here, it'll go along to column 2 of the selection I've made, find AP01, AP019, sorry, and it will put that then in cell A2. So if I press enter and we see AP019, then it's worked. That's worked there. Yep. Let's test it. If I change the name of the course, if I change it to ESOL, it'll then look for an exact match for ESOL over here in the selection I've made. It'll go along to the second column of the selection and it'll return AP018. That's what it should do. So let's test that. Change it to ESOL, AP018. So a lot quicker there to use the VLOOKUP function than to actually type these in manually. It only remains for us to do is to autofill that down for the rest. And you see we have a problem. But it's an easily fixed problem. You can see it's obviously not working there. It's got a not applicable code there for English evening class when it should have returned the code for English evening class, which is AE001. Obviously that hasn't worked. The reason it hasn't worked is because of this. Now, in the second part of the VLOOKUP formula, we told it where to go looking, J4 to K47. You'll notice if I autofill down, though, what it actually says in the copied version of this formula is J5 to K48, which is actually, if I double click on the formula, you can see it's actually moved that box downwards one. That's what autofilling does. It moves everything in the formula down one. For example, if I autofill the whole thing down there now, choose that first formula. Keep your eye as I go down on how the formula changes then. Now we want B2 to change to B3 and B4 and B5 and B6, etc. But what's also happening is that range of cells we wanted to look at, J4 to K47, is also changing. It's also going down there. It's going to J8 to 51 and so on, to the point where if I click on one of the formulas further down, you can see where the box is there. It's moved down as the formula's moved down in column A. There is an easy way around this. That, by the way, it's what's called relative cell referencing. It's where a reference in the cell is relative to where it is in the spreadsheet. The opposite of that is absolute cell referencing. And what we actually want doing is we want the B2 to change to B3, B4, B5, etc. But we want the J4, K47s to stay the same. And the way we do that is to use the dollar sign. Put a dollar in front of the J, a dollar in front of the 4 as well. That anchors that to J4 and it won't change as you autofill. A dollar in front of the K, a dollar in front of the 47. Dollar is a good choice for this because I think it looks a bit like a hook, so it kind of anchors it there. And when we autofill down, it won't become J4, J5, J6, J7. It'll stay as J4. Let's have a look at that formula there. Autofill it down now, and it works because if you look at, again, if I go to A2 here, use my arrow keys to go down the cells like this. Keep an eye on the formula in the formula box up here, in the formula bar there, and you'll see that that J4 to K47 doesn't change now, so it's always looking at the right box. If I click a formula way down here, it's still looking in that same area, same there. And that's what they call absolute cell referencing. Let's just do a test again on, save down here, changing performing arts, which is AF 102. You can see that there. Let's change that to, let's say we'll change it to theatre, film and visual arts. And it's changed the code to AF002, which is correct. So that seems to be working really well. So now for the course start date column and course end date columns, and we use similar techniques in both of these. We need to make sure, starting in C2 there, that the users of the spreadsheet are only allowed to enter dates within a certain range, and that range is that no course can start before the 1st of September 2017 or after the 1st of January 2018. And with the course end dates, no course can end before the 30th of January 2018 or after the 30th of June 2018. And this is another job for data validation. Although this time we're not using data validation to create a drop-down list. We're using it to limit what the user can type into this particular cell. But they're both examples of data validation, because the effect they both have is that they limit what the user can type into a cell. Whereas at the moment, the user can type anything they like in. So I'm going to choose C2, and I'm going to go to data and data validation. Again, a bit like when we created the drop-down list. But this time I'm going to change any value to date. And then we get a couple of boxes there that you can see we get when you change allow to date, you get a choice of between or not between or equal to and so on. We have to limit the dates that can be entered in this box to a range between the 1st of September 2017. 1st September is the 9th month there. But no course can end later than the 1st of January. Sorry, no course can start later than the 1st of January 2018. So, like so. Okay, so click OK. Let's just test that's working. If I try and enter a date outside of that range, so for example, the 1st of January 2017, which is too early, and I get the error there saying that the value entered is not valid, etc. So it is working, but the problem with this error is it's not very user friendly. It's just a standard Windows error. We can actually customize this to make it first of all a bit more user friendly, and also it doesn't really tell me what to do, what I did wrong. It just said that it's not correct. So I'm going to go back. It is working, but the error message is not very good. Let me just check that it's working for if I put in a date that's too late as well. So let's say I put in the 1st of March 2018. That's too late for a course to start, so it should get an error as well. But there's that very unfriendly error again. But don't worry, because we can customize that. So with that cell still highlighted there, I'm going to go data validation, data validation. There's the part of this dialog box that I filled in just now, the settings part. But you'll notice a couple of other tabs as well. There's input message and error alert. Come back to input message in a second. I'm going to go to error alert now. And this is where you can customize exactly what it says in that box that pops up. First thing I'm going to do is change this rather unfriendly looking red button here, red icon with the cross in it. Change that to something. Yeah, I think information is good. Or you could choose warning. I think the stop one is just a little bit too unfriendly, I think. So I'll choose a nice information box there. You can give this error alert a title. This won't appear in the error box that appears, but it will help you if you've got a lot of error alerts going on. It'll allow you to choose between them. I'm just going to call it start date. Date error. And then whatever I type in this box here will be what pops up in that error box next to the more friendly looking icon I've given it now. So I'm just going to type in something a bit friendly here. There's nothing to stop you being quite sort of friendly here and maybe a little bit informal. So I've just put here, it looks like you've typed in a date that's not allowed. Please type in a date between, and then I've given the dates. So I'll click OK there. Let's try it again now. If I put in 1st of January 17, I still get the error, but now the error is a bit friendlier, and it also tells me exactly what I did wrong as well. So it's a lot more useful to the user. Now what we'd really want to do, though, is actually stop them typing in the wrong thing in the first place, so we never actually get this error. And there is a way of doing that as well. Again, if I go back to data validation, we get the box back. The tab that I skipped there, just conveniently skipped just now, input message. Whatever I type in this box here will appear in a pop-up box just when the user just hovers over the cell, just when they haven't even typed anything in. I'll show you what I mean. I'll enter an input message in here. So I've entered a message here. Please enter values between the 1st of September 17 and the 1st of 1st 18. So I click OK there. And I hadn't even hovered over it there. The box was selected from just now. And you see that pops up. As soon as I click in that box, that pops up. So it stops people entering the wrong date in the first place. So I'm going to... That cell has now had its data validation, including the error message and the input alert added to it. Copy that down there. What you'll need to do then is populate this with some suitable course start dates, and then try and do exactly the same thing with the course end date as well. Obviously the dates will be different that you have to enter in the data validation to limit the user to only entering certain dates. The input alert will be different, and the error message will be different as well. But the technique is exactly the same. So go and have a go at that now, and then come back to the video. So there's my course start date and course end date columns there, populated with appropriate data. The final column to do then is column E, which is course funding. This one's very simple. All I'd like you to do is just populate this with course funding figures in the range from £100 to £900, just in multiples of £50. So something like this. Something like that there. So fairly random figures at this point. You will be changing them later on to make one of the worksheets in the future work slightly better. So just some figures in there, as I say, from about 100 to about 900 or so, and in multiples of £50, something like that. Okay, so that's the student's worksheet and the course's worksheet finished for now. And it's the end of this video. The second in the series. If you think you're ready to have a go, do that now, or if you want to have another look at the video, rewind, pause it, etc., you can do that as well. Also, if you're doing this in college and I'm around, you can help, ask me for help. Thanks for watching. Have a go at that. Hope you find it okay and find it fun, and I'll see you in the next video.